before you listen to this podcast, there's some stuff you gotta know. A lot of things happened after we recorded this podcast. Like, I started school, and James had things to do with his job, and I started a musical, and he had like recruiting and horn dates and compositions, and there's a lot of things that happened between when this podcast was actually recorded and when it's going out now. So a lot of this is outdated. Sorry about that. We reference a lot about getting back into shape for the semester starting when clearly the semester is already half over. Just keep that in mind as you're listening. This was done a long time ago. Maybe one day we'll stop like time stamping these or talking about these in reference to the year, but that ain't today. So enjoy the podcast. Sorry for coming out so late. We'll come out with more content soon. Thank you all so much for listening. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to The Complete Musician. Creativity at its core, exploring innovative musical ideas, thoughts, and techniques for the modern musician in today's society. With your hosts, James Nagus and Drew Phillips.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Complete Musician Podcast. Happy New Year, and we're back, and I'm James. I'm joined by Drew, and we're here for some more fun, some more music, some more who knows what. I don't know what this year has in store. 2019, is that even a real number?
It's a pretty high number.
It is.
I mean, and this is bound to be a fairly busy year, but I'm not sure everything that's in store for us
That's true.
so far.
And also, by the time this podcast comes out, well, it depends on when we release it, because we still have a couple that we haven't released. So this may come out in May. Who knows?
It could already be half of 2019 is over when this comes out.
Maybe.
I hope not. I hope we get it edited and released before then. This is back to some more musical stuff. We've been doing some fairly silly podcasts lately.
We have. We've been doing some holiday specials and some other things. And so, yeah, you're
fun.
right. It's time to get back in serious. And actually, what I thought we could start off with was something that always happens around New Year's, which is New Year's resolution. So, I don't know about you, but, you know, some people's New Year's resolutions are, well, I'm going to eat better. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to read books. Yeah. But my New Year's resolution is 4-3.
Is 4-3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 4-3 resolution.
It's a 4-3 resolution.
Yeah, and it's yours.
A 7-6. Oh wait, that's a suspension. No, it can't be a 7-6 suspension. No, I don't really make New Year's resolutions because
you make New Year's dissonances.
It's a new year, new puns. You're batting 1,000 on the bad puns already this year.
The pun-o-meter, I think, already just broke for the year.
I commend you for that. But I never was one to make New Year's resolutions because I am generally unhealthy and will probably stay that way year-round, so there's no point in disappointing myself. And reading more books,
you wouldn't want to let down your stock that you own in Cookout. I mean, you basically own 49% of the company, right?
I do. We're opening up new franchises in new parts of the country soon. We're going to break into the northern part of the country soon, so be on the lookout for that if you live there. And if you don't know what Cookout is, then you need to visit the South. But
so, speaking of serious musical things,
yeah, and, you know, reading new books, that's a resolution for people. I read enough notes. I don't need to read words. I can already use most words.
Right.
So, no, I'm not one to make resolutions. But I think one of the resolutions that people have, at least a short-term one, because you can make long and short-term resolutions, I think especially for students, is that they make resolutions to get back into shape over the holidays because, you know, over the holidays, sometimes you don't play as much as you do when you're in school.
What? Not. I've never not played over the holidays.
Well, you're a better man than me, because I certainly do not, and did not, and will not. So that's a past, present, and future resolution for me, is that over the holidays, I take time off.
I mean, my horn had a great Christmas. I took it back to my parents' house. I put it in the room. Christmas happened, and then I took it and put it back in the car and took it back to Georgia.
There you go. Hey, it traveled with you.
It did.
So
yes.
it traveled. It didn't see anything. It's like
No.
It's like when people visit a city, or if you ask someone, "Have you visited this place?" and they're like, "Well, I've been to the airport." That doesn't count.
No,
That doesn't count at all. No. So that's. I mean, my horn. It did the same thing, because I don't know about you. I am deathly paranoid of leaving my instrument anywhere that I'm not. Like, even when I travel, not when I fly. Like, if I'm flying for a non-musical thing, then I don't take it. But if I'm, like, just traveling in the car, I always bring it. Even if I don't plan on practicing, I always bring it.
I mean, it's only, like, your livelihood and your job.
Right.
And everything.
It's my baby.
Yeah.
It's my baby. So I always bring it with me. But no, I mean, my horn had a great Christmas. It sat in the case in timeout for 2 weeks. And that is, I feel absolutely no guilt about it. Maybe that's terrible, but I don't.
You see, I don't think so, because at least we know, and we're smart about how to get back into shape, because this isn't our first time not playing over break. But I know we both also thought of it too.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing that for how long have I been playing? 20 years. So right. So I've been doing this, getting back into shape after winter thing for a little while. Yeah, I think we both discovered some pretty helpful things, or at least some smart things to do, instead of jumping back in with some pretty high volume practicing immediately.
And I think a lot of this echoes, to bring it up a little earlier, echoes our summer chops routine, which we talked about a while ago, which is really a step-by-step kind of routine stretched over a several day or week period, actually. And this one, if anything, because it's a little less time, it's just more condensed, but it just deals with starting easy and expanding. And I know for me personally, if I were to boil it down into its simplest forms, like what I do to get back in shape over break, it's start in small doses time-wise and with range, low before high. There's no reason to play high on the first or second day. You'll get there. It'll come back. Just take it easy and focus on good sound.
I think we're both pretty similar in that, because I think we even texted each other on the day that we played again for the first time, and we both said, or I told you I didn't go above a G, and you were like, I didn't go above an F or something. We just stepped right in the staff. Low is okay,
right?
But high, no, I don't breach it. And I also usually when I get back into shape, I don't do a lot of articulation.
Oh yeah, you just focus on slurs or air attacks.
Yeah, I usually just slur most everything. I like you said, going at it a little bit longer every day. You're right. This echoes the summer chops thing, which in a few minutes we'll maybe detail a little bit more. But yeah, the first day, I mean, I think I came back and I played about 20 minutes, and I think the best part is that I didn't have any music, or I did, but I didn't use it. All I did was some long tony kind of things, chromatic stuff, some overtone things in a very, very conservative range, and then maybe some glisses down, maybe some flexibility stuff, but again, not exceeding up past overtone partial, what is G12 in open F horn, but I didn't go any higher than that on the B flat side. So it was pretty conservative, but it's great. I didn't need the music to be able to get back into shape. And of course, man, I felt my corners burn. I mean, it was it was burning pretty good. So I mean, that could have been from the hot sauce at Taco Bell, but I think it was because I haven't, used those muscles. Which, can we just digress for 1 second? Why in the world did we decide to get into an industry, a musical? Why can you fall out of shape so quickly?
Yeah.
But, like, is that just us? I mean, I know these are muscles, but, like, we've used these muscles, I would dare say, there needs to be a study done, because I wonder if athletes who, like, don't play every day, like, do they lose the ability, like quarterbacks, do they lose the ability to throw a football if they don't throw it for 1 day?
1 day. Right.
Like, 1 day. Do they come back and like, they mean to throw a spiral and suddenly it, like, instead goes, like, in a diagonal? Like,
I don't know.
And now, an excerpt from the classic children's novel. Susan throws a football for her friend, Peter, and he absolutely destroys her because of her terrible throw.
Watch me throw the ball. Stand back. Fling.
The ball flew behind you and fell here. And that is not very far. Not very far at all.
This has been an excerpt from the classic children's novel. Susan throws a football for her friend, Peter, and he absolutely destroys her because of her terrible throw.
Or, like, it does a curveball? Is that what it is? Because that's what it feels like. It feels like when I come back and I'm like, man, I was playing so well, I took 1 day off, and then suddenly, maybe not 1 day, but like a week off, you expect to remember everything. Suddenly your range is like down by a second, and you're like, okay, high C's not there today. B flat's a struggle. I, didn't play for 3 days. What am I doing?
So what you're saying is that in order to get back in shape, what we need to do is just go outside in the backyard and throw a bunch of footballs around?
If that helped, I would love to see the qualitative research done to suggest that all I need to do is throw a football and
as
get
long
back
as you don't
in
try to
shape.
catch it with your face.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That is terrible. Why? Anyway, that's
I don't
just
know.
something.
I get angry with other instrumentalists who can go long periods of time without playing and come back and then be perfect. But it's probably to actually get into the mechanics, just because we do the vibrating. Everything is so focused, right? Versus a football player who can slam a couple Powerades and then their whole body is in like
the power.
Or Gatorades, to support my alma mater.
They're right. Support that
But
for us.
there's so many other components that are involved in that process versus what we do. It's so focused, and I don't know. I think
Why
the
are
lips are just
Weak? Is it
yes,
weak?
yeah.
Are
They're
we
just
that?
they're baby muscles.
They're
They're
baby muscles.
muscles.
Why did we choose? Oh, if I could have played. If we could have played our horns with our biceps or something, that would have been so much easier instead of.
I would have failed immediately.
Okay, me too. But it just. Anyway, okay. Digression aside. Yeah, I think that getting back into shape, you really have to be smart when coming back, and you can't do high volume and really heavy lifting. I know that when I start. I'm still, in the process of getting back into shape right now, because at the time we're recording this, we're still a few days away from the semester beginning, and I know that I don't have any immediate performances. I've got a pretty tough musical to play in a few weeks, but the part's fairly challenging. But right now I'm still working on building, and so I'm increasing the time every day and increasing the volume every day in terms of range, in terms of what I'm also realistic in expecting my lips to be able to do.
Mm-hmm. And my coming back is a little bit different too, because I am changing to a new mouthpiece. I just changed, and so I took this time actually to kind of reset, do a little factory reset in a way, and that was a really useful too, because then I could rebuild with a slightly different bit of equipment. And actually, I honestly don't know if that's better or worse. Like, maybe I should be trying out things at peak performance instead of building, but
right,
I honestly don't know. But this worked. This worked, so it's just a little different.
Do you find that is common for you? I do for me. If I take a while off, I feel like when I come back that everything is a little bit different. and a little bit new. And I don't think it's like a bad thing. Like sometimes it's foreign, not foreign, but sometimes everything like feels a little different, but it's not bad. It's just different.
Yeah, I think thinking back, for a long time I did feel that way. And every time I took time off was like a massive reset and massive setback. Recently, though, I don't know what's different. I don't feel like I lose as much, which is great.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
So I don't know, honestly, why that difference is. Maybe I'm just, more in shape overall. Or it's that magical, you hit 30 and then your endurance increases. That's a thing. And so I hit that mark now looking back, and I think that's it. That's the secret.
Well, thank goodness I only have 5 more months until that happens.
You'll get there and you'll see what I mean.
Oh boy, I'll enter the land of the 30s. And then my endurance will be better, and then, high C won't be so high, and
that
be great.
didn't happen for me, though. That
It
part.
didn't?
Nope.
Well, maybe you're still easing into it. I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, but just make sure that to people that are listening that not just getting back in shape over the holidays, but for getting back in shape at any point in life, that you're really smart about it, in that you don't try to do too much too fast. And by that, of course, we mean increasing time over the days. Make sure that you plan ahead. I know that if I took time off and I knew that in, a couple weeks that I had to play, principal on Heldenleben, then I'm not going to start preparing for that 3 days before. So you have to adequately and responsibly plan the time that you're going to get back in shape. And for students, I think that's really important, because students, I think more than us, have sometimes a lot more playing to do than we do. At least they're sitting in ensemble rehearsals sometimes for hours on end every day. We don't really do that anymore. And so they have a pretty high volume. And if they're unprepared, at least some of my students sometimes come back and their first lessons, maybe the first or second week, they're in getting back in shape, but also recovery. Because suddenly they've come back and then, oh my gosh, they're playing principal and wind band, and they're playing all of this crazy, crazy high stuff, and they're not prepared for it. So they have to force themselves to do it, which in the long run only hurts.
Right. And I mean, we started classes already. And
okay.
So several of my students, their first lesson was the first time the horn came out of the case for, I don't even ask how long. And, we could, I suppose...
The question we don't ask.
Right. I mean, as teachers, we could, on one hand, be like, you have to come back in shape or I'm going to kick your butt.
Hi, SpongeBob. I'm going to kick your butt.
But I think it's more realistic to think, well...
I'm going to throw a mute at you.
It's more realistic to think well, they're not going to play, so it's now my job to help guide them to get back in shape. So, I mean, we did, in some of these lessons, we did very condensed versions of this stuff, knowing they had to play in ensembles later, too. Yep. Overtone series, long tones, taking lots of breaks, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. We unfortunately have to assume that. I think the responsible students are definitely going to try and help themselves out the best. Maybe, Hopefully, it's like a year of learning. Hopefully, if they do it 1 year, they'll realize when they come back, this is really difficult. Maybe I should prepare a little better. But anyway, off of that, responsibly preparing before you have something, either classes starting or some kind of crazy gig or something that you need to play. Make sure you're being responsible with that. Increasing volume a little bit every day. And like I mentioned a second ago, being really realistic about the expectations of yourself, because like we said, I knew that the day that we started playing again, I'm not expecting myself to go above, G on top of the staff. Not that I couldn't that day, but there's no point in doing that if I'm looking to build. When you're building muscle in the gym, you want to make sure everything's slow and controlled. You don't want to just kind of overextend.
What? No, I put the weight all the way to the bottom and then twist and jerk until I can move it.
Excuse me, I forgot. That's right. When I deadlift, I use only my arms, and I lift from my. I don't even know. I lift with my neck.
The most important thing is, oh gosh, that would hurt.
That's right.
It's the goal
right.
that's the most important thing. It's the high number. That's all that matters. It's the high
That's
notes.
right.
That's the only thing that matters. If you can squeak out that high C, it doesn't matter how painful it is and how many teeth you've, shot out of your
blood
face.
is in the mouthpiece. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being realistic about expecting, especially if you're being smart and trying to build skills back as opposed to, and solidify fundamentals instead of just, like you said, reaching the high note. Hooray.
Right. So
Anyway.
are there any specific elements of our routine that you want to kind of go over? Or should we just say, like, if you go to our website, coremotohorn.com, we have our summer chops routine, and you can adapt it to really any situation where you're trying to get back in shape.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a 7-day workout plan that has every single minute dictated as to what you should do. In these, they do include etude practice. But again, like you said, those can be nixed if you don't want to actually do that. I mean, the first day, I think, is a total of 20 minutes with some free buzzing and mouthpiece buzzing in there too, just for some fundamental practice. But every single session, I mean, they're split up into 6 steps of free buzzing, mouthpiece buzzing, long tones, overtone series exercises, chromatic scales. There's AT practice, and then warm down. And the first day, like I said, it's 20 minutes. It increases maybe like a minute on each of those every single day. And over the 7 days, suddenly you're doing, up to 30 to 40 minutes of practice, which in a realistic, world, that's an actual practice session that you would do.
Right.
So, but yeah, all of these things I take, and I do overtone exercises, again, in conservative ranges, and then suddenly expanding outward, not getting outside of 4 to 5 to 6 within my first, day or so, because there's so much that can be done there. I also, like I said, I also advocate when you first start and get back into shape that I think the tongue can really mess things up. And I think if you focused on slurring and, like you said, great sound and smooth movement between the partials, then when you put the tongue back in, it won't mess everything up if you're making sure that you're having a consistent airstream blowing.
And you probably also do a fair amount of buzzing, both free buzzing and mouthpiece buzzing as well, right?
Absolutely. All the time.
Yeah. So I think there's some tips for you getting back in shape. And again, for me, it's okay, if after gig miss, after you're done with all your nutcrackers, to take time off. Some people, I don't know, I think it's like a taboo. It's like, oh, I can't take time off. No, really, it's okay, just as long as you're smart about it.
I think it's completely appropriate to take time off. We need not only physical break, but mental break. I mean, this was actually, I think, 2018 Gigmas. And if you haven't listened to our Gigging Musicians Christmas album,
yes,
there you go. You need to go do that. Listen to the previous podcast. But, this past 2018, the gigging I did, man, I had a lot of concerts to play. I had like this crazy brass quintet and organ concert, followed immediately by symphony, followed by nutcrackers, followed by another orchestra concert. It was a lot of playing, I remember, and I was actually really tired. Like, sometimes, I mean, okay, I'm going to admit something. Are you ready for this admission?
I don't know. Should I call my lawyer?
Maybe. Some of these concerts, I didn't play all the right notes. I missed a few notes. Like, dude, I missed a few notes. Like, okay, not heinous, but like, I missed some notes because, and some of it I could say was like, I'm tired. Like,
right.
I just played a quintet and organ concert the day before, and I'm tired.
Somehow, I don't think the Offbeats and Sleigh Ride really cared.
Oh, I actually think I played those okay. It was some transcriptions, some like crazy Bach that killed me. Anyway, whatever. It's not only you need a physical break, which that story attested to, you need a mental break sometimes.
Oh yeah,
because we just can't keep pounding away at everything that. It's great to work on things, and it's great to continue improvement and to identify your weaknesses. But when you're getting back in shape, I think this is another element of getting back that we didn't say yet, is playing things that you like. and not just always. I mean, gosh, you know, I have my Chantal sitting beside me, and oh boy, is that fun. But you know what?
Oh, come on.
Oh, sorry.
It is fun. I love
it.
it.
Okay, fine.
But you see,
yeah,
there we go. I would play Chantal, but then you don't have to.
It's about fun.
What's that?
Fun is when you...
I would play Chantal.
Fun is...
I would play Chantal.
It's like...
I would play Chantal.
It's kind of... Sort of like a...
But you know what's way more fun? Like pulling
Disney
up a
tunes.
karaoke track and pulling up a Disney song
Yeah.
and transposing. That sounds stupid, but actually that is a lot of fun. I actually don't know
sound
why
stupid
more
at all.
people don't do that.
Copyright infringement, that's why.
Oh, excuse me.
Actually, lack of audiation ability, but anyway.
Anyway, the playing stuff you like is a lot of fun and is a great way to do it. Or just pulling out old recital pieces and just kind of playing through stuff that you like. Or I've also done this thing where on my phone, I mean, that's not great quality, but you can do like a voice memo. If you have a duet or something, play one part and then play it back and play along with it. I mean, just doing things that are enjoyable so that you're not just kind of getting back into it and pounding as soon as you start. Be smart, not only physically, but be smart mentally. Again, don't expect too much of yourself when you're getting back into shape. Remember why you do this. It's not torture. It shouldn't be.
And with that, I think we're going to take a quick break and just hear a word from one of our sponsors.
Are you ready for a fast food experience that'll make you feel like a hero? Can you handle dining that makes you a champion? Are you strong enough to start eating on a pedal E-flat? Well, this is for you. Come to Ein Heldenberger in
Cowpoke, Ione, Nebraska, my Oklahoma.
It's the only German-named restaurant that only serves Greek food. Ein Heldenberger.
Where your dining journey makes you a hero. I want a patty melt.
You're getting a hero.
What's a gyro?
It's Greek.
I like that here.
You think it's German, but no. It's Greekish.
Just like Heldenleben tells the story of a boy and maybe a goat who fight the evil powers of Beowulf to threaten to at least the demons of Little Red Riding Hood upon Xanadu, and then they get cake, and I really, really like cake, and then my lips got stuck in a gate, and then it was fate, and I was late to find a mate. Oops, where was I? I mean, the goat suddenly died, and the boy was a hero, but not like a hero, but a hero, which is a sandwich. I mean, you get it already. Okay, thanks.
Come to Ein Heldenberger. Feel like a gyro.
Ein Heldenberger is not a real thing because no one would waste the time saying the entire name to go to the restaurant and is not affiliated with anyone or anything ever and does not actually exist and is not an official sponsor of the Complete Musician Podcast.
And we're back to your regularly scheduled podcasting. So James, do you know what I like?
What do you like? I mean, I know what you like. Let's see. Let me make a list. Taco Bell, Mountain Dew,
yeah,
Cookout,
yeah,
shows with laugh tracks.
Yeah.
What I miss?
Well, you actually already said it. What I like the most is Liszt.
Oh, yeah, he wrote some good piano stuff.
Yeah, I like him. You know, like that song about death, and you know, with his really spider fingers. Yeah, he's a great dude. But I mean, actual lists of things.
Oh, okay. Like
yeah,
to-do lists, grocery lists.
Grocery lists and shopping lists and pros and cons lists, and that's more of a chart. Yeah, whatever. I like making lists because it makes my life more organized. It also informs me and gives me wisdom in areas of life.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I know. So, you know, one of the things that I thought we should do is we should make some lists of some musical things that will that our listeners can benefit from.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that these lists have a lot of wisdom associated with them, and that I mean we've each made a list.
We
right?
have. Yes.
We have. We
Yes.
each made a list. And we each gave each other the topic based on personal experience and what we feel like would benefit people the most.
I mean, that's the main thing is we're thinking of you, the listener, what is going to help you the most. Because we are doctors, we give advice, we give, wellness advice like other doctors. And so this is just more advice.
This is essential wisdom for your everyday living.
Yes.
Very Lori Beth Denberg-esque.
Very, yes.
And if you don't know who that is, go look up All That on Nickelodeon. It was a 90s thing. Anyway.
It was the Saturday Night Live of our youth.
It was the Saturday Night Live light.
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that where Amanda Bynes got her start?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, man, I remember all that. Lori Beth Denberg.
And Kenan Thompson, too, who actually went on to do SNL.
And, anyway, yeah, so many people.
Yep.
So all of these pieces of advice are 100% real and 100% true. They are not sarcastic or silly in any way, and if you derive silliness from these, then you need to examine your priorities. I think
this is meant to be helpful.
Meant to be very helpful. So I'll go first, or would you like to go first?
I think I'll go first.
Okay.
Because, you've been in the game of this kind of advice business for a little bit longer, so I feel like your advice will have more resonance and maybe be better.
Okay. And I think we're also going to discuss, maybe delve into some of these if they need explanations. Yeah,
if there's anything that you really agree with or disagree with, I'd love to have a counterpoint, a dialogue. So,
as long as it's first species counterpoint, then we can certainly have it.
Okay, so what you gave me was 10 things the orchestra wishes the conductor would stop doing.
Because conductors do a lot of things. And...
Well, that's debatable.
And sometimes they need to stop doing such things.
Yes.
So we need to know what to be on the lookout for.
Right. And so we polled tens of hundreds of orchestras. And this is what they said.
And this is exactly what they said. The best things.
Yes. And this is in no particular order, by the way. This isn't like a countdown. This is just 10 things. So the first thing is, I found this one to be a little unimaginative, quite frankly. It was conducting. They wish the conductor would stop conducting.
I agree with this.
Yes.
Conductors are, they're like Jell-O molds. They get everywhere and in everything, and it's really hard to pass them.
I'm more impressed that the violists knew that there was a conductor even there.
Yeah, because good for them. Good for them.
Okay, so here's the second thing that orchestras wishes the conductor would stop doing is shaking the hand of the concertmaster after they ran it across their terribly sweaty forehead.
That is... Yeah, I see that quite a bit.
It's almost like some kind of nasty secret handshake.
It's like when you're like becoming blood brothers with somebody, you like cut your palm open and like trade blood. Have you ever done that?
No.
Oh, my Colt and I did. What?
Oh, good. Well, just not with sweat. Okay, the third thing here is using the tuba as a mirror to gaze incessantly at their own reflection.
Do they do
It's
that
what they
a
do.
lot? Do they? I wouldn't doubt it.
Apparently they do. This was the survey results that we got. So
how would that affect? Is that why their hair is always crazy? Is because
that's why they're always adjusting it.
Well, it's because they're looking at. Well, I guess it depends on what part of the tuba they're looking at. Because as it flares outward, it's like looking into a funhouse mirror. So obviously they think when they're doing their hair, they're like, oh no, it's so flat. I must tease it higher and higher and higher. That's why their hair is always crazy.
That's got to be it.
That explains
That's the only reason.
There you go.
All right, the fourth thing that orchestras wishes the conductor would stop doing is using the pre-concert talk to reminisce about the good old days when McDonald's sold hamburgers for under $1.
Oh man, that is. They have a point though. I can't. They have a point. I do miss the McRib. I miss it.
Was that ever under $1 though?
I don't know. But hamburgers, they used to be 99 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now they're like $1.09. How dare
So,
they?
Joe Conductor thinks you can use the pre-concert talk as the soapbox.
Yeah. What a
Rude.
diva.
All right. Well, the next one here is the conductor replacing his tuxedo or her tuxedo with a garbage bag hemmed to look like Voldemort's bathrobe. You've seen those types of outfits, right?
Yes.
I don't understand why they do that.
You just triggered. That's like so many memories. That's so I've seen that way too many times.
Oh, yeah.
That hit home. Really. You're right.
That actually,
they need to stop it. It's especially when they're more like hospital gowns and open in the back.
The audience really does not appreciate that one.
No, it's always just a full moon for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Claire to full moon. Okay. The next one here is the orchestra wishes the conductor would stop winking at the second flutist after every da capo. That's just weird.
I think the orchestra conductor should stop winking in general.
Yeah.
Could you just,
maybe they have a speck of dust in their eye or something.
It's always like when someone unexpectedly gets something right and they just like, ding, you just see them like wink at it. Like, excuse me? Did you?
It would only be appropriate if they actually winked every time the triangle player actually made a ding.
It's right, and then gave a really big like half smile, and turned their head at the same time. Otherwise, it just looks like they had a stroke or something.
Yeah,
especially the people who can't wink. Because then it just like I don't know, it just looks like a twitch.
So I can understand that one.
Agreed.
Okay, the next one that orchestras wishes the conductor. The next thing that an orchestra wishes the conductor would stop doing is pre-gaming by slamming a 5-hour energy drink and doing Tai Bo, much to the chagrin of everyone as this takes place on stage.
Billy Blanks is not for the modern conductor. I'm sorry, but if you're going to do any kind of workout, they need to do CrossFit, because then they'll be so exhausted after their 400 muscle ups over 6 hours that they can't conduct anymore. And then we're back at number 1.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Right?
They won't get in the way anymore. Yeah,
or at least
Billy
just
Blanks,
do it backstage.
No.
Don't do it. You come on, the audience is applauding, you walk on, you shake the concertmaster with your already somehow sweaty hand, and then you pull out the 5-hour energy, slam it, and then start Tai Boing for who knows how long. I don't know what your regimen
is. In Voldemort's bathrobe, no doubt.
You're right.
I mean, they're just, instead of conducting, it's like chop, 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 with their, like, elbows, and, it's very difficult to follow. Brahms is very difficult to play with Tai Bo.
I can only imagine.
Brahms. Not a good thing.
It's the new version, yes.
It's the Asian version, Tai Brahms.
Coming to an infomercial near you.
There you go.
Okay, the next one here is using food terminology instead of music terminology, as in, this pasta needs to be more whisked and churned like a tuna. We don't know what that means.
It's true, and I'm very sick of conductors telling me, listen, this is how you count. Taco, taco, burrito, burrito. I'm tired of that.
Yeah.
I know how to count rhythms. I don't need your food analogies. It's very rude. It's very rude to food. It's rude to Taco Bell. Stop it.
Okay, so the next one, and I can understand this one. The things that the orchestra wishes the conductor would stop doing is using his green room as a gerbil mega play place.
It's a consistent problem nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, you're walking past the room, you hear like little scurrying and little scratching noises and a little bit of like hay under the door.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
We used to think that was Susan, but no, it's ended up being so many gerbils.
Tubes full of gerbils, just tubes full, which is the actual scientific term for a group of gerbils. It's a tubeful.
A tubeful? Mm-hmm. This is actually, this used to be a much bigger problem than the 80s. I don't know if you were aware of that. It was much bigger, but with guinea pigs.
Oh, but guinea pigs are adorable.
They are, but not in a giant collection. in a puddle of guinea pigs. The scurrying and nibbling only gets worse. That's the appropriate
and
name
the
for
whistling
that
too.
Exactly, a puddle of guinea pigs. That's the scientific name for that collection. But yeah, it's gotten a little better because of the driving out of the rats that the Pied Piper did from Ireland or something like that. Yeah,
that would do it.
Yeah, he came over and did that with orchestras a few years ago, and so it's actually gotten better. But no, I'm tired of this. It's a constant problem because it affects their ability to conduct. All I can think of is their cute little, gerbils. They're tubefuls of gerbils.
Tubefuls.
I don't know. Nibbling through their bathrobes.
Jeez, it's a problem.
Especially while they're doing Taibo.
Oh gosh.
Oh
yeah. And one gets flung into the audience by mistake.
Or you step on one and squish it. Oh no! Squish gerbils for breakfast. Anyway,
it's a new percussion instrument. They're always making up new things. Okay, the last one here is orchestras wish that conductors would stop calling their batons by name. I mean, seriously, if the baton's name was Wilbur, he'd probably have a name tag. He'd probably have an endowed chair. You can't reserve 2 boxed lunches for you and your baton. And besides, it takes up a lot of time if in every, before you start conducting everything, it's like, okay, Wilbur, are you ready? Are you ready to go? I can understand this one.
Agreed. And especially when the names, or when they have to, after the concert, and everyone comes up and says, congratulations, maestro. And they expect to also congratulate the baton as well.
Mm-hmm. In fact, the conductor waits and goes,
right. My friend deserves recognition as well. Yeah, I'm tired of that as well. Batons are, you know what? Are
you a stickler about batons?
I am, no, I will tell you this. I am not a batonist. Commonly spelled as botanist, but not. I am not a batonist. I do not believe that batons are equal. That's right. I said it.
Wow.
I said it.
You heard it here first.
#stick2.
Stickler. Okay.
All right. Now, I also made a list. And this list it's a little different from yours because it was actually made up by me, just solely by me. We didn't poll anyone on this one.
Oh, okay.
Right, but this is actually some advice, and this advice goes for anyone. It goes for professionals. It goes for students. It goes for anyone who performs, because this list is the 10 best pieces of advice for a solo recital. Now, solo recitals have a lot of elements. I mean, there's the playing, there's the preparation, there's the actual mechanics of it. So these are 10 pieces of advice, not in any particular order. Some of these have multiple steps, but you got to follow all of them to make sure that your performance is good. Okay, you ready?
All right, lay it on me.
All right. So number 1, under 10 best pieces of advice for a solo recital, come on stage to play your first piece. Don't. Cry instead.
It's a bold start, but I can see where it's going. Yeah.
Yeah. Cry
Our
instead.
goal is to capture the audience, and there's no better way than an emotional level.
You have to elicit emotion, and no better way than shedding tears before
doesn't
you
it
even play your
Stravinsky?
first piece.
Wasn't it Stravinsky that was misquoted as saying that music has no emotion at all? So therefore, we need to supply the emotion.
Well, and that's what this does. This is the first piece of advice. Come on stage to play the first piece, but don't cry instead. I think that elicits an appropriate response from the audience.
I think so.
Okay, number 2. Always remember to acknowledge your pianist. Always remember not to paint your pianist turquoise with a sparkly paintbrush.
Oh, they hate that, don't they?
They hate that.
I wish someone would have told me that before.
I know. Well, I've seen the video of your sophomore recital in undergrad. Claude was not happy with you. Our
Well,
good
also
friend Claude,
because I acknowledged Claude, but her name was actually Joanne.
they were not thrilled. So you need to, at least after that, you got a real life lesson in not painting with your sparkly paintbrush anymore.
Yep.
Okay, number 3 on this advice list. Bow after each piece. Always bow forward, bending at the knees, followed by the neck. Keep the waist as stiff as a starchy blouse in a newly opened Peebles.
How do you bend forward at the knees?
You're not bowing correctly, are you?
I guess I'm not.
You're not.
Wow.
You remember, keep the waist as stiff as a starchy blouse in a newly opened Peebles. That's pretty stiff.
Uh-huh. That's very stiff. Yeah, that's a technique that we were certainly not taught.
No. Remember, you never bend at the waist. Remember, these are things that will only enhance your performance. Okay, number 4. Thank your teachers for coming. Frame them for murder shortly thereafter.
Ooh.
Because you've already learned all you can from them, so they need to be gone very soon. Especially before you listen to the recording with them.
Ooh. Yeah, that's
Right.
definitely, that's murder. Yeah.
So the framing for that will come shortly thereafter. Okay, number 5. Focus on playing the right notes. Don't focus on that time in 3rd grade that you ate that locust. Her name was Elaine, and she had a family, you monster.
Why would anyone focus on that?
You did it. I cannot tell you what your 8-year-old mind did, but she had a family. How dare you?
All those years of therapy. Lost.
Let's see. Number 6. Dress nicely for your performance. Respect and honor your elders by wearing your great-grandmother's wedding dress. Now note, this only applies to men named Carl.
Yeah.
And we know... we know Carl in undergrad. He did that.
He
had a very successful recital.
Yeah, unfortunately, his grandmother's dress got destroyed in the war, and so it was just what was left was like just the neck. So
it looked a lot like, if I'm remembering correctly, it looked a lot like Voldemort's bathrobe. So
the one that was like a doctor's gown that was gone in the back.
Yeah, it was, and especially that whole bowing scene. Ooh,
it kind of made sense when he came out and cried because of that.
It made the recital very memorable, and that's what this is. It's best piece of advice for a solo recital. All right, number 7. This is you have to make sure to follow all the steps of this one. Number 7. Wait until after the applause finishes to leave the stage. Hail a taxi. Take a plane to Plano, Texas. Buy a tiny ornamental turkey. Give it to Helen. Fly back. Re-gift the cold that you got on the plane to your sister. Finish the recital next year.
I see no fault with that.
Nope. That's exactly what you should do. It extends the experience. It also is in the spirit of Christmas, in which you're giving gifts to each other.
That's true, yeah. Now, I guess the only thing is it depends on how long the applause actually does last. What if it lasts forever? Can you leave?
I don't know. If an audience does not clap, did you perform?
Wow.
That was deep. Very deep. Anyway. Well, you probably did. It just wasn't any good. But we're not going to assume that. Anyway. Okay, number 8. Hug everyone when the performance is over. Hug them tightly, because you never know when you'll eat with them at Bennigan's again.
Yes. Yeah, Bennigan's. I think they have like app specials, and I don't know. I got nothing. That's pretty much what we do anyway.
Everyone loves Bennigan's. And you got to make sure. You never know when your last Bennigan's is your last Bennigan's.
I think that's their new slogan, actually.
Agreed.
Which could be a comment on the quality and undercookedness of their food.
Trademark. Number 9. Always remember to smile. Try as you're smiling to resist screaming, "Thy raven is a pudding, good m'lady," at the good sir sitting in the front row.
I will say that I tried that once and I couldn't restrain.
You didn't
It
resist?
happened. I did not resist. No. I smiled, then all of a sudden, oh no, it's happening.
What did old Mr. Frankfurter do when you screamed it at him?
Luckily, he was a little hard of hearing, so all I heard was his hearing aid squeal, and then he just kept smiling.
Oh, well, that's good. You made his day.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah. The rest of the audience was actually crying, though.
Well, you elicited
but maybe that was
emotion
still
then.
from the beginning of my first piece, yeah. Maybe.
At least they weren't still applauding. Good.
True.
And our last one, number 10. Save your program for future reference. Send it to future employers with the words, "Here comes the chops," scribbled across the top. Get the job and earn a salary. Get a 401k. Fast forward time and get your 401k early. Spend it on cheese. Become a cheese farmer. Invent lactose out tolerance. Become richer. Swindle it on everyone's favorite baseball kicker, Clive. Live in agony until American Idol is renewed again.
That may just be the best piece of advice we've ever given on this podcast.
I don't know if there's a follow-up to that one. I mean, everyone wins. I mean, you've learned to fast forward time. You've invented lactose out tolerance so that people can eat lactose again, who previously, got a little guessy from eating their favorite yogurt. Clive is helped out, and then American Idol comes back.
That sounds like the solution to world peace, basically. It's just a matter of who's going to do it first now. The gauntlet's been thrown down. The door is open.
Well, and to all of our listeners, the next solo recital, well, I guess it's not really solo, but the next recital you come to should be our recital that we're giving in a few weeks.
Yeah. A few weeks / months / whenever that is.
Well, for everyone listening, we're giving a recital in March at UGA.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's following the recital at the Southeast One Workshop. So there's 2 for the price of 1.
And all of these pieces of advice will have to be followed.
Yes. I will say, though, if you do take that last one before we do, just make sure to send us some cheese.
Right. Because... and make sure that when you fast forward time, make sure you share that 401k with me, please.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, well, that's going to do it for our list making. We might make this a regular thing. And our advice giving.
And our podcast
and I think,
for this episode.
I think it's going to end our podcast for us. So everyone, thank you so much for listening to us. We'll be back with some musical advice and maybe even some silliness because, let's be real, silliness is fun. And we enjoy doing it. So if you want to get in contact with us, go to our website at www.cormotohorn.com. We have a contact button that will send it, that you can contact us through our email at cormotohorn@gmail.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube, see all of our videos, and make sure you like us on Facebook and send us any kind of messages that you'd like.
And top 10 lists if there's an idea you want us to explore. We'll give you that advice.
We will give you great advice. Did you say bad advice?
No, good advice.
Oh, shoot.
Great advice.
Great advice. Just wonderful advice. So, please contact us with any kind of thoughts that you have. And thank you very much for listening. We'll be back soon.
Bye.